Hi there, my name is Mia and this is Theo. We are members of a Red Cross Red Crescent response team. In this video, I'm going to talk about protection, gender and inclusion, or PGI for short, and the need to include these elements when preparing to respond to emergencies. You see, we know that the risk of occurrence of discrimination, exclusion, and also violence increase whenever and wherever any shock or crisis hits a community. So what is protection, gender and inclusion, or PGI? PGI describes IFRC's approach and way of working to address the causes, risks, and consequences of violence, discrimination, and exclusion in an integrated and intersectional way. Protection means addressing violence and keeping people safe from harm. Gender and diversity are about addressing discrimination and understanding people's different needs, risks, and capacities. Inclusion means actively addressing exclusion by meaningfully involving and engaging excluded people in our work. Remember, everyone is different, and our preparedness for effective response actions need to reflect that. A person's sex, gender, or racialized identity, age, physical ability, and many other factors can increase the risks they face during an emergency, with those who are excluded usually being worse affected. Let's think through what we need in order to take protection, gender, and inclusion in consideration. A key first step is a PGI organizational assessment. This helps show the specific strengths, challenges, and opportunities within the national society around PGI. As a second step, or in parallel, conduct a safeguarding self-assessment. This focuses on ensuring the national society has systems in place to prevent any staff or volunteer from engaging in sexual exploitation and abuse, and to safeguard children from all forms of violence. After these two assessments, take practical actions based on the findings. In the longer term, this means ensuring PGI principles are part of policy, strategy, and standards. Let me show you what I mean. Think about which relevant policies you already have in place and which are missing. The IFRC PGI minimum standards guide us on how to integrate PGI considerations in all emergency operations. An important action is to provide training on these standards for all staff and volunteers. The PGI minimum standards have some sections common to all sectors. Consider integrating these into your standard operating procedures for disaster risk management. You can use the PGI scorecard for reference. Link is in the description below. Also, ensure PGI considerations are included in analysis and planning. In my district, we integrated a PGI analysis as part of disaster risk reduction planning. In our community assessments, we made sure to include people who are often left out. We should always be aware that the voices of minority groups, persons with disabilities, and marginalized women and children are often not heard. How do we incorporate PGI into our operational capacity? In our last emergency response, after integrating PGI into all sector programming, we ensured all services uphold the principles of dignity, accessibility, participation, and safety for all individuals. We ensured dignity by having separate bathrooms according to a person's gender identity. We established accessibility by making adaptations for any impairment, by, for example, making shower doors wider or easier to open. We ensured participation by asking users of diverse backgrounds and identities how to make services appropriate for local languages, customs, and practices. And we provided safety by making sure that services were well lit at night and that toilets, showers, and shelters were secured. We made sure to participate within protection clusters and subclusters by, for example, coordinating with local agencies that represent marginalized populations. We also included PGI within our operations support by incorporating a consideration of PGI issues within human resources, security, risk, and budgeting. Everyone is different, and this has an influence on how emergencies affect us all. In order to respond effectively while upholding humanity and impartiality, we need to consistently include protection, gender, and inclusion in our preparedness activities. And together, we can.